What advice would some say, Matty? What's your advice for Aiden starting out, mate?
I think I gave him a bit of advice during the week. I saw his
Yes.
introduction there, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was really inspired. He's a very smart man by the looks. He's going after an MBA, and I think it's good, to have a bloke who's ticking a lot of boxes in life, but also feels like he's got more in him. And I think that's a really clear message to all the men out there. Like it's sort of one of those things that you have to just keep working at it, no matter how successful you are or how handsome you are or good at athletics or sport or wealthy you are. You can always keep improving areas of your life. So it was yeah, good to hear Adrian was quite clear on his objectives of what he wants to get out of this. So I think it's a really good start. And like I mentioned, working on that foundation in Kajabi, that first thing, setting yourself up and some of those six pillars that I mentioned around that have helped me anyway,
Yep.
getting the body right and cutting out some habits, some bad habits, and getting nutrition in and exercise a really good start, mate. So I think, yeah, you'll do well here, mate.
Yep. Right, man.
Thank you.
Amazing to see you on here today. Just talking about sort of turning up and doing things. It's just just mentioned before. Turning up is I feel is fundamental to having successful change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just want to ask tonight too. What does success look like to you? And so just a huge welcome to everyone on the Man Live Zoom today. Just wanted to make it's an honor to be doing this intro, and just want to have a shout out to all the men here, those who just started. Aiden, welcome again. Just having the courage to turn up, shows that you're looking for change, and might not be happy with how things have been going, and there's more in you. Who's been inspired from some great posts this week, eh? It's been amazing, eh? And I want to have a shout out to Kieran Bailey. Kieran's a man that he just turns up week in, week out. A man who knows there's more in him. And for me, I believe he's pretty much set a benchmark to how to get the most out of MAE. He just turns up and does the work. And his posts are just from the heart. They're amazing. It's just it's a really great thing. And this week, last couple of weeks have been doing validation, fathering, and that. And I was just thinking what to come up with tonight. And there's a story. I was coming back from I do a bit of work on the islands here. I do one day over in Russell, and I had a chance to validate a young fella. I was just waiting in line for the barge to come back over to Macleay Island, and they had the ute there and a bit of gear set up on it. I'm just watching this young fella there, and he's there with his young partner, and they had a pram. They just had a young kid there, and I could see he was just he wasn't in a sort of good place. He was stressed out a bit, and he had this big trolley of stuff which they won't allow on the passenger ferry, but they'll allow it on the barge. So he's wanted to catch the barge over. Plus, he had a rear bumper off a vehicle, and it's like, oh, yeah, just watching him. Anyway, he walked over to me. He says, "Oh, mate, are you going to Macleay?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, I'll be up, put my stuff in your ute." Yeah, no worries, mate. And this bloke couldn't be more thankful. And sort of got talking to him. And it's funny, we got his trolley on. I had a bit of a joke with him. I'm just about to put the bumper on. I go, "Oh, what's the bumper off?" And he says, "A Commodore." I said, "Oh, no way, mate." And then it's sort of as soon as he looked around, this look of horror on his face, and then he saw I was joking, and it just sort of lifted his vibration. He got a smile on his face, and it's just like, "Oh yeah, it's okay." Anyway, he got his stuff on the ute, and then it's still getting all funny. He thought I might have just going to drive off of it and this sort of thing. And I was reassured, look, mate, it's all good. We got there, and their friends hadn't turned up and this sort of thing to pick all the gear up. I said, "Look, mate, what's your address? I'll drop your gear off, and it'll be fine." And be more thankful. And then, well, after I was talking to him a bit and got talking with his partner as well, and they had just a young 3-month-old kid there, and they'd ended up his partner's grandparents had a place on Macleay, and they were able to move into there, and at least they had a roof over their head. And I just encouraged and said, "Look, man, you've done so well. You've moved. You've been in a hard place, but you you're having the courage to make things better for yourself and your family. And he was probably 21, something like 22, and you could just, it was really good just to sort of brighten up their night, and you go home. I just dropped all his gear off, sent him a text. Here's where you get, got his number off him, and just going to keep in touch with him, But it was just a small thing, just you could see they're at their wits' end, and it was good just to be able to give them that validation as much as I could, and just see the good in what they were doing. And I'll catch up with that young bloke and give him some more validation as well. Another thing that came to mind was my son, he flies out to Europe tomorrow, and he's saved up pretty much since he left school for do a big trip. And when I was talking to him yesterday, just every time I talk to him, it's very important to validate him, just tell him every time I'm proud of him and love him. And the best thing about that is I've got a son that whenever we talk in person or on the phone, it's one of the last things we say to each other is, "I love you, Dad." "Yeah, I love you, son." And it's just the best, that's real wealth, Yeah.
Awesome.
And with my father as well, he passed last September, but I saw him before he passed, and I had some of the best, let's call them validation conversations with him, some of the best times in that time. And there's talking about success, and he was a pipe fitter, boilermaker, an amazing boilermaker. And there was a book when he passed. I just grabbed a couple of mementos. One memento was a book called The Diamond System. It's just like chains you wrap around a pipe. And then I looked inside this book, and it had the laws of success. So I just want to quickly go through these laws of success. Do you want something? Will you pay the price? The great sin is gossip. The great crippler is fear. The greatest mistake is giving up. The most satisfying experience is doing your duty first. Best action, keep the mind clear and the judgment good. The greatest blessing is good health. The biggest fool is the man who lies to himself. The most certain thing in life is change. The greatest joy is being needed. The cleverest man, the one who does what he thinks is right. The most potent force is positive thinking. The greatest opportunity is the next one. The greatest thought is God. The greatest victory is victory over self. The best play is successful work. The greatest handicap is egotism. The most expensive indulgent is hate. The most dangerous man is the liar. The most ridiculous trait is false pride. The greatest loss is loss of self-confidence, and the greatest need is common sense. And I've got that on my computer. I read that every day, and it's like my father's validating me every day to do better, and it makes success, That's one. So before I introduce I'll say it again, one of the best cornermen anyone could ever wish for. Just everyone tonight, just having an honest and enjoyable Zoom, just have an open mind and just enjoying the great participation and the fellowship this group brings to us. It's something very special. And so without further ado, once again, it's an honor and a privilege to introduce a man who has sparked fire and purpose in thousands of men over the years, and is helping to fulfill purpose that is inside every man. And if you haven't come to, for the men here, we've all come to know and love Gavin Top, and if you haven't come to know and love him yet, you will. God, Love to introduce the one only Gavin Lance Top.
Thanks,
Well
Gaz.
done, mate.
Awesome, mate. Yeah. I love it, mate. If you haven't come to love me, hang in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, terrific. Hey, awesome, mate. It was great to hear about that conversation you had with your father and what you've got from your dad. And gentlemen, even if you haven't known your father, you can look, there is good somewhere. You can always find good. So, mate, and that's great that be able to exchange those words. And I suppose what we've been working on, particularly the last week or the last period of time around validation, let's not wait till the end to do this stuff. Let's have these conversations today, this week, because it's great, mate. Like even now, like you're always talking to your sons, telling them you love them, you're validating them, like that. That's just brilliant. That's amazing. I mean, who enjoyed listening to Gary? Give us a it's awesome, mate. Terrific. And I mean, like I said, there's been so many posts in the mentorship group this week. It's been amazing, and the other group as well. It's terrific. But Aiden first Zoom from Scotland, awesome. I think there's a few other blokes. It's their first couple of Zooms as well. Can we give all the new blokes a round of applause? Come on, because it takes courage to step up here. Yes or no? Who felt daunted their first Zoom or two? Yeah? Because I know a lot of you blokes, so, you bloody jump on, but you get your screen off like you're hiding in the dark. Well, mate, and that's all right, whatever. But, it's always better if the more you put in, the more you get out. It's not philosophy, it's science. The more you put in, the more you get out. So it's awesome. But, I mean, the last week, regarding the task, who was able to, I suppose, almost retrieve some stories from their past, some positive validation stories? Who was able to do that over the last week? Give us some shout outs. Ben Brizzy, mate, what story did you get this week from your family?
Yeah, mate, I feel not definitely not embarrassed, but most of my stories of my dad and my uncle were around playing up.
Okay.
So, and I mean, but in a good way, not in a bad way. I mean, they're not just my dad sticking up for my uncle. Like once they were both in prison, and back in the 60s there was a big thing called the riot. And anyway, they were both locked away.
Yeah.
And what happened? There was a lady boy in there called Ellie Mae, and apparently Ellie Mae could fight a bit.
Yeah.
So, but my uncle was pretty loud, and he's a bit cheeky. So my uncle Cozzy got cornered by this Ellie Mae in the cell, and this Ellie Mae was going to belt him, So my uncle's had to call out for me dad, but he had to call out pretty quietly. So my dad's had to run up and get a handle on Ellie Mae,
Right.
before.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to make fun of this because, all the stories that my dad tells me is actually looking after each other. He looked after, obviously, his dad, or he looked after, they looked after each other, and they were always together. So there's always the question of loyalty. There's always the themes of loyalty, family, and doing everything for the family. So I don't, as I said, I know that's where my dad talks to me about, looking after each other, looking after your mates, and everything's done for your family. So there's a lot of those type of stories. So that's
good.
one,
So you gather on them. You gather them. Who else is next, mate? Who else was able to talk with a family member about that? Who else reached out and did that? Give me a raise of hands if that was you. You reached out. Yeah, Kieran, who else? Who else did? Who else found it challenging? I think Neil said it was a bit of a challenge. Yes or no? Was that you?
It's sort of. There is a document apparently that my brother spent some time with my dad before he passed and wrote some of the stories. So we're trying to retrieve that.
Great.
But just thinking around that reminded me of a couple of stories, which I think I put a post up about. And quite a lot of the more I thought about it, quite a lot of the stories were about kind of doing the right thing or persisting under duress, that sort of thing. So I never really considered that any of those stories had anything to do with how I would turn up in the world, but they certainly have now that we've started to think down this path.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. So, and that's my point, right? Thinking down this path. That's what we want to do. We want to be gathering more and more stories. And I think I believe what will happen is just get you thinking down this path, like Neil said, but you'll start to spot more stories. And I would suggest write them down. Yeah, because timing's everything. At the right time, you'll be able to tell the right story to the right person that a penny might drop. Do you know what I mean? You might be able to just get the right thing. So, Kieran, mate, what would come up for you? You said you were going down that track?
Yeah, I actually called my auntie. She's
Awesome.
sort of the only one I felt to call, and it was good. And look, I mean, her and I haven't been especially close for a long time, so it felt like quite a big thing just to sort of bridge the topic at all, the subject at all. But it was a beautiful conversation, and she was initially a bit I could tell she was a bit sort of anyway, I just explained to her what I was doing, like I'm doing this mentorship program. I just sort of gave her the overview of what it was all about, and it was actually a beautiful conversation. We spent quite a while on the phone, and I just found out it's probably more so about my grandfather, who I never met, but just sort of how he was as a man and a hard worker, and she said he was a really good father, and it was a beautiful thing to do. It was a beautiful connection with her, and I could tell she was opening as she was sharing this stuff. She was remembering things that I got the impression she probably hasn't thought about for a while, and I heard of a few things about my dad, like her brother, that I didn't know, and it was just really, it was just special. It was a really special thing. It was beautiful.
Oh, mate, that's good.
And I like what
Sorry, mate, because that's one thing I probably didn't say, man. Because sometimes people aren't prepared to ask those sort of questions. Not every day someone says so. Tell me a story about 50 years ago. So, sorry about that, man. I should have prepared. But it always works out. So, who else has got something? Who else? What else come up? I want to hear from one more bloke, please.
I can jump. It's not really a story, because my dad's actually over in the US just now, and I've not had a chance to speak to him about stuff. But I did speak to my mum at the weekend, who'd told my dad that I'd started this mentorship program. He said to Mum that he wants to spend more time with me, and he's going to reach out to me when he's back from the US. I think he said that he struggled when he became I'm a twin, and my mum and dad had I've got an older sister, and I think when my dad became the father of me and my twin sister, he said that to my mum anyway that he struggled quite a bit making that kind of transition, just because I think he realised just how much work. How little time he'd have to himself after that. I'm looking forward for him being back from the US and actually having that conversation with him and finding out a bit more about how he coped and managed with it.
And this is good. This is one of the things, man, I think I said last week about as we step up and ask these questions, because we realise a lot of our fathers were fathered by men who, there was not this conversation that happened. It was almost by chance. So I think in some ways, we not just lead our own children or the people around us. We lead the people. We lead everyone. Everyone. Just start creating more stories. Start telling more stories, more positive stories from the past. It actually helps everyone, which is amazing. Well, I think it is. Who agrees with me? So, man, don't stop is what I'm saying. Don't stop. You know, let's keep gathering stories. You know, one of the best things I think that's happened to me is by, you know, I never realised at the time, but particularly when I first started that boxing program in 2009, and I was inspiring all the men basically to keep turning up. To get through the next session, to keep turning up. Whereas I started it was just, you know, I just started pulling on all these stories that men had, you know, these stories that men had spoken into me and validated me to keep going, you know. And over time, man, it just kept, there's more and more and more. There's a well, man, and I reckon if we keep going down that well, it's bottomless. There's so much good stuff in our lives if we know where to look. And of course, there's so much negative stuff if we look there as well. Who knows what I'm talking about? You know, so whatever we focus on, we'll grow. So we're going to transition again this week, but it's the same thing, gentlemen, because, you know, knowing what we know now, because I believe all of us have had certain parts of our, you know, our masculine journey that we'd rather just put to the side. It hasn't made any sense, you know. So I think a lot of it, who knows what I'm talking about? There's some question marks in our past, or maybe how we were raised, or things we did. We don't even know why we were doing certain things, or is that just me? It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction. How the heck did I make it this far? So you know, and I think what we've got to do is almost, now that we know, we want to create almost a path for others to follow. Yeah? Is everyone, we're on the same page? You want to create a path, you know, by finding your purpose and your mission for life, and other people, men, women, and children, communities will benefit from. You know, knowing what we know now, we can start to get a vision of what we want to create. Yeah, like for example, you get, you know, I believe, you know, you get around me, your life's going to change for the better. Not for, it used to get changed for the worse. It's going to get changed for the better. You know, you get validated around me. You know, I inspire people. I inspire everyone who comes near me. You know, whether you notice me or not, man, that's what I'm doing. Not for that reason, but because I'm a man on mission. That's what inspires people. Okay, so one of the things that I think we're gonna, you know, I think as men we should be doing, whether we're conscious of it or not, we're actually creating new stories. You know, we're creating new experiences. So knowing what we know now, we want to create things that actually that are going to impact our family and the people we love in a positive way. Yeah, who's up for that? And in fact, what I thought we'd actually do this week is I'm recording this, and I was even thinking I might even record this and put it for other men to see as well, because I reckon this is going to be amazing today. All right? So if you're watching and you're not on the Zoom, leave us a comment and let me know. Maybe there's men here that are going to watch this. They're actually not even in the mentorship. I've even thinking maybe we should put it in the men's advice group. So because everyone needs to hear this stuff, you know. There's a validation process that every man longs to actually go through. You know, even if you don't know what that is, you know there's something missing if you're not in an environment with great men that are inspiring you. Everyone longs for that. Before I even knew what initiation and validation was, I longed for a group of men to be a part of and belong to and push each other. Yeah, who knows what I'm talking about? Before you even maybe knew what validation was, you know. But what we're going to do this week moving forward, let's really create scenarios that impact everyone around us. So we're going to actually, in Kajabi, there's that couple of weeks where we talk about an adventure. an adventure. Yeah, who's up for an adventure this week? Who's up for an adventure today? You know, for me being a man, but being a father particularly, you know, I reckon the worst thing that could ever happen, look, I should keep it down because my kids might hear me, but the worst thing that, like a dagger in the heart, is, oh, you're a boring dad. Who wants to be a boring dad? My kids know that kills me, man. I haven't had it for a while, but you know but you know, an adventure, and I always, you know, I love to go to the dictionary, and this is what adventure actually means: an unusual, daring experience. So it's an unusual, daring experience. That's the definition of adventure. Man, who wants to live an unusual, daring experience? I mean, I'm up for that, man. Come on. Yeah, Adam's got his hand up. He's on an adventure. He's creating things. Like, well, I believe that's exciting to me, an unusual, daring experience. And I can remember as a young man, my old man, I suppose before, well, we never talked about this stuff, but my old man, my father, what he did was he was always doing things. He was always, I suppose, wheeling and dealing, buying and selling things and buying and selling businesses, and there was always something going on, you know. It was great. My mum as well, you know, they were a great team. But I remember one time he, you know, I was a teenager, and he swapped a house was quite a nice house on 20 acres for a caravan park service station about up North Queensland near Benny, up at Inkerman, about 100 k's from near Home Hill, 100 k's from Townsville. So it was I think it's about 3,000 kilometres from Melbourne. Straight swap. Had never seen the place or anything. Talk about a daring adventure. He sent his accountant up there. His accountant said it was good. So he's all of a sudden, you know, they're in the car and they're heading to North Queensland. Like, think back, that's insane. He was up for a daring adventure. And, you know, it wasn't too long and I headed up there myself, you know. But there was a caravan park, it was a servo, it was a general store. I started to meet in this caravan park people from all around the world, because there's a lot of fruit picking and stuff, vegetable planting and stuff around. So there's a lot of backpackers. I started meeting people from all around the world. I was absolutely fascinated. All these different languages being spoken. So before, when they talk about adventure, it was like it caught my attention. I thought maybe that's what I'm missing. So it wasn't too long. I bought a ticket to the other side of the world. Didn't even know where I was going. Had no idea and didn't care. Loved it, but I didn't know where I was going. You know. And but this is the thing, gentlemen. That's when you really come alive. That's when I've really come alive in the unknown. Remember, you've got your comfort zone. Then you've got your uncomfortable zone, and then outside of that is the unknown. And that's really where you come alive, is in the unknown. Well, it's that or stay in the comfort zone. Yes or no? You know, who wants to live in the comfort zone? Who knows, it gets pretty uncomfortable after a while. It's called, you know, after a while, it's just repetition, same old, you know. So, but this is what happened to me, okay? Overseas, and it got a bit ugly at times. Man, it was too much adventure sometimes.
Hey.
You know? There was one time.
Gotcha.
Hello, mate. Welcome to the Zoom.
I finally made
Good
it.
to see you. Everyone, this is Frank from Queensland. Just jumped on, first Zoom ever. Welcome, mate.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
What we're going to do is we're just going to tell a few stories, mate. We're going to ask some blokes to talk. So, mate, we're just about to get into a story that's up in Queensland near you. So, all right. So,
nice.
So anyway, I go to Queensland, meet all these people.
Right, then, sure.
Get a one-way ticket. I go to the other side of the world. Just hang on, mate. So I go to the other side of the world, right? I meet all these amazing people. I can remember being in Thailand, right? Meeting these blokes on the beach. I was taking ecstasy and flipping dancing for these full moon parties off me chops, right? Probably not the best stories, but I remember meeting these guys from, they were Israelis. They were working in Holland, in Amsterdam, selling these things. They said, Gav, come work with us. We'll give you a job. I'm like, I'm in, I'm up, I'm down. As a few months later, but I remember being over there, and you know, because things can go what better, you can get out of control. Well, I got out of control, you know. I suppose this is the idea when you have a clear vision, a clear purpose, you live an adventurous life opposed to not knowing what your mission is and going, you're up for anything, okay? I remember one time, I'm over there in Amsterdam, and I remember thinking I was out of control. I remember checking my plane ticket, okay? And it was back in those days where you got those plane tickets, you know, before the bloody... you know, before phones and all that were around. You know what I mean, phones, but iPhones and stuff. So you had the ticket. But I remember checking my ticket and thinking, well, I didn't know what day it was. And then that's not too bad, is it? But then I realised I didn't know what month it was. I thought, oh, that's a bit weird. You know, I had to ask someone what month it was. Right? But then I realised, then things got a bit scary. I realised I'd actually missed my plane by 3 weeks. You know, but then that's when it got a bit hairy. I was actually in the wrong country. So I was looking for an adventure. So there's a whole story that I don't even remember half of it. But that's when you don't know what your mission is and you're up for anything, because it's in us for a daring adventure, a daring experience, you know. Anyway, look, you know, but what happened? I got back to Australia, and that was when I found that first mentor, and he put his finger in my chest and said, son, there's something in you that only you can fulfill, that mission, that purpose, you know, because really that mission and that adventure, that purpose that's in you is an epic experience. It is an epic adventure, you know. So I doubled down and got on mission. You know, at that time it was, you know, it was to be a fighter, an Australian champion, etc. So I got to live my dream. I got to do that, you know. But quite often, I think for a lot of men, then you get responsibilities. Whose head was good? All of a sudden, man, they got a lot of responsibilities. Almost like you get strapped to the plow. You got to keep on turning up. Who's experienced that? You know, you feel like more like a workhorse than actually a free-spirited man on a mission, an epic adventure. You know, and I think it can happen for a lot of us. And obviously, that, you know, I'm telling you this story because I realised it happened to me, and I looked around, and we all have moments. And I remember a moment where I was the Australian champion. Michelle, you know, we're married, we were a couple of kids. I had a business, and I looked around. I thought, man, this is not what I want. And I mean, if everyone looked at me, they go, Gav's successful. That, you know, I actually at that point I had about 3 houses. I think at that time I had new cars. I had a business that was just making so much money, it almost felt illegal. Like it was like so much money was coming in, you know. And I remember it was a bricklaying business that I got from boxing. Basically, opportunities open up. But I remember looking at my son and my daughter, because my wife had brought me lunch. You know, I was working close to home, but they brought me lunch. And I remember this bloke saying, my son and my daughter, just a minute, mate. My son and my daughter. Do you want to turn your mic off?
Yeah, gotcha, mate.
Yeah, just thanks, mate. But I remember looking at my son and my daughter. My son was next to the mixer, And this bloke laughed like he was, he's a good man. But I remember him laughing, saying, "Oh, look at your lung bloke, he'll be laying bricks before long." And I went, "No, he won't." Inside. And I thought to myself, not that there's anything wrong with bricklaying, mate. I love laying bricks, just not all the time. Not every day, and that was a great mission for a period of time, to have a dozen men working for me and just going like a madman. I loved it. But I thought, I want something different. So I remember making a decision there and then, saying, I'm getting out of this. I know there's more in me. And that job that we did, because we used to do like 100 houses at a time, and that job went for a couple more months, and I actually never did another job after that. I got out, and I don't, like everyone's got their own path, but that's the sort of man I am. I gave all my bricklaying gear. I had 2 foremen. I gave them everything. The contracts, the trailers, everything, everything, to cut ties. I wanted to burn the boat. I mean, obviously they were very loyal, and I wanted to look after them, but I wanted to burn the boat. There's no return, that's how I operate. And it excited me, that daring adventure, So, but any questions around that, gentlemen, before I go on? No, we're good. Anything
How do you reckon within coming away from your ties, Gav? So coming away from your ties, throwing it away, giving it to your foreman, how can you feel a sense of achievement? Or let
me go on, and you'll because looking back, having a bit wiser, I wouldn't have done that way.
That's what I'm thinking.
I could have done it better. But let me go on. So remember, and this is what happens to, I think, a lot of men. We actually look for that adventure because it's in us. We look for it in a business. We look for that adventure. So, and there is a season for that. But there's more in a man than a business. There's more in a man. But sometimes if you don't have a clear vision of how that plays out, you will live in that. Particularly on the back of last week when we're talking about validation, a lot of men feel validated by their business or by their clients or by how much money they got or what car they drive. Who's been down that trail?
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with making plenty of money. We all should be. There's nothing wrong with driving nice cars. We all should be. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. But if our sense of identity is in that, we're in trouble. If we're looking for an adventure in that, I think it's hard. It's going to be hard. So,
man, what I'm trying to work out.
The question is, how do we do that? How do we have our cake and eat it too? I mean, who'd like to know about that? Because it is possible. It is possible to do both. So I mean, because remember when we go through that purpose test, when we go through that dream test, right? And when we test, remember, others must benefit from who we're becoming, from the life that we're living. Others must benefit. We must benefit from how we're living. Our health must benefit. Our imagination must be stimulated. And one thing I've really been honing in on lately, because I listened to a book and really Steve Jobs talking about how repetition, doing the same, although it's very powerful and we can create some great paradigms, but repetition can actually kill our imagination. It kills our imagination the same. Who's experienced? Get up in the morning, go to work, come home, go to bed. Get up in the morning, go, and all of a sudden you become a grumpy, you become a boring day. Well, So man, you know, what's coming up even now? Who hasn't spoken yet? Anthony, what's coming up for you, mate? Anthony. Yep.
Yep. A lot, like you're saying, Gavin, and you said it earlier. Adventure. I just keep thinking, what's next, and I've got a lot at the moment going on personally from a business perspective, from a personal perspective. You know, Cheetah poked me in the chest in March, and I'm preparing. I'm going to base camp in October. Literally next Friday is my last day as an employee. So I'm stepping off the cliff, right? It's there's a lot. So there's that overwhelm, but then and everything, there's a time for everything. There's a season for everything, like you say, Gav. And last week's Zoom call couldn't have come at a better time, right? Because I'll start thinking about those stories. I'll think about where I've come from, and not just me, right? And what you're saying is how the other people around me impacted me to create the person that I am. Right, to empower me, to help me step up, to go to the heights and to the levels that I don't even know that I can, right? But that all comes from somewhere. That all comes from those people around you, around me, and it goes for everybody. Those stories, the stories that empower you to take that. And it might be a small thing. It might be what you think at the time when you first hear the story. It might be, oh yeah, cool. And when I first heard my grandfather's story, I was like, okay, well, yeah, he was a runner, Mark. He was a little shit. No worries. That's what I took from them. Until we look at those things, but it's I literally just wrote down the adventures and the stuff that I've got coming up, and I went, there's more, right? There's more. What else is in me? What else? What's next? What after? Because I'll step off the cliff and I'll land and I'll crawl, then I'll walk, and then I'll run, and then I'll get to Everest, and then it's what's next.
I know. Right? I know.
I'm pumped.
That's good, mate, because like for me, and that's what there's always that more. I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied, and we're going to understand
exactly.
So,
can I jump in quickly or not?
Yeah.
I was just going to jump in. Gav, firstly, mate, you're the best storyteller I've ever met, and I love that about you, mate. And
wait till I get to the news stories.
I think you've used this ability to tell stories. It's created a business for yourself. It's created a identity, and it's just you've helped so many people just by sharing stories. And I think I look up to that in you, and I aspire to having that ability. One of the things
you've already
you
got
probably
the ability.
Oh, mate. One of the things you might remember was the fact that one of my biggest fears was being sat at a dinner party with a group of people and not having anything interesting to say. It scares the shit out of me, because for the best part of, or the largest part of my life, I've just done business, and that's what I've been good at. And that's been my identity, and I've been able to almost they say, fake it till you make it through life, because I had success, and it was like this cloak, and after so many years of it, I finally shed that identity, and I've started to develop a new identity. And it's still one of my biggest fears, because I haven't done much traveling, as some of the men will know. I've just been working. And at 44, I'm really starting to, I know there's more in me in terms of adventure. And Kerry got to experience a little bit of that. But quick story, we're running up that mountain in the first 3 hours, and I was with a group of about four younger runners. I was probably at least double their age of some of them, and we're doing it pretty tough. And a couple of them started telling stories just because we were sort of hiking. And I'm thinking, don't ask me. I've got nothing at this point, because I just didn't feel like I had anything decent to add to this storytelling. Some of them were telling these fantastic stories, and we're all enjoying it. We're going around the group, and I almost ran ahead. I'm thinking, don't ask me. I've absolutely got nothing that's going to inspire you. And that just brought back that fear that I have. Well, yeah, correct. But it's still there. So I'm in the process of creating adventure, so I can have more stories to tell. Because talk about business or whatever, I'll talk your head off. But it's so boring, mate. Like, there's more in me. Yeah. Anyway, thought I'd jump in there.
No, that's good. That's good. I remember you saying things like that early days, and you're at a dinner party, weren't you? And the woman said to you, remember?
She embarrassed. Yeah.
Yeah. She said, "Have you got anything else to talk about?" Wow.
Yeah, there's about 8 of us, and someone was asking me, because people always ask you when you go to business, how's business or how's your property? They want to know, So you end up talking about it, and it's all you bloody talk about is business and money,
Yeah.
And she chimed in, and she said, "Haven't you got anything interesting to talk about for once? No one wants to hear about your money." And I just felt robbed, because I didn't actually start. Like, somebody asked me, and I started telling them, and of course, it looked like I was spruiking, and it was just all out of context. And I felt about 2 inches tall. I sunk into my chair. My wife held my hand. I just wanted to run out of the room, but I'll never forget it. I think it's been the best thing, because
motivation done your favour, mate.
That and that maths teacher that told me, when I was 14, that I'd never amount to anything, and I'd just be a cleaner or something. She said, but yeah, mate, these things happen for a reason, so we've got to use it.
Good stories, but this
there you go,
gentlemen, and this is what I want to work on this week. This is the task this week. Let's bloody create new stories. Let's live new stories. Let's do more. Let's be more. And even Anthony, you talk about the Himalayas. This is something that I've been working on in my mind, because remember, everything's created twice. So I've actually got one of those Himalayan flipper motorbikes, mate. It's in my mind. It's coming. Yeah, that's an African trip, right? And when we talk about adventures, the unknown, right? Remember when we go through that dream test, those deep desires. I can't explain. I don't even have to explain. I don't even care that I can't explain. I'm going to Africa, right? And I'm going to flip and be a man on a mission. I'm going to the unknown. I don't know. I just want to. There's other things that I want to do. I'm looking at a flipping, a pistol course. There's a 7-day course in parts of the Middle East and Africa, and flipping. They even do one in Malta, but I think it's a bit, I don't know. Hey, it might be dangerous enough for me. I don't know. Well, maybe it's a good step. I don't know. But life's a daring adventure, or it's not. Life's an epic experience, or it's not. And when I say to myself, it's not, I want to flip and throw up. From all reports, you get one go at this. I'm not going to take a chance that, you may get another. No. All reports, you get one flipping. So, gentlemen, one of the things I want to do, what we're going to the task this week, is every day do something different. And I mean, for me, I think everyone here knows I'm bloody on an epic adventure here in Malta, and that's what we've been doing all year. It's just going. We're covering. It's not that big of an island, but there's always new things to do, new people to meet, new cliffs to dive off, new areas to go bloody snorkeling. There's always new people, to get in relationship with. And man, this is on the back of last week, creating these stories, right? Around validation and creating these stories with the people we love. Because you can do all this stuff on your own, but it's always better with others, And even, oh man, for example, right, there's this bloke down the road. I think I've said a couple of blokes that I've met. He ended up taking us out on his boat. I've known, just not well, but to say hello, to have some small talk, chit chat. He goes, "I want to take you out on my boat." I said, "Great, awesome." I said, "I've got a son." Anyway, I ended up taking the whole family out, right? we're out there on the boat and we start to talk some more. And mate, where we're going is just you need a boat to get there. You can't get there any other way, right? It's a daring experience, you know. The people you meet, as it turns out, he takes us to where he was actually a driver for Brad Pitt. He was Brad when they were filming here. So he takes us, shows us where they were staying because they obviously hired bloody all this area, and he starts telling me all these stories about, about Brad and about, because he's driving for 5 months. Then we start talking. He's actually the driver for the health minister, prime minister of Malta. Like this guy, very unassuming. When I met him, he's just come across like a very humble man. But when you're in the presence of someone, this bloke's a unit. Yeah, when he took his shirt off, mate, this bloke is built, like he's just got stature, he's got a presence, and you see now why, if he's the Prime Minister's security and driver, you can see, well, he'd have to be a bit of a flipping weapon, But, man, these are the people you meet when you get out of your comfort zone, when you say yes to things that you've never done before, when you say yes to that adventurous call that's in you, opposed to trying to line things up or do things you've always done. These are the people that but man, sometimes you need to build the muscle, and that's what happened to me, because even a few years ago, I would say I actually did. I had everything that I wanted, and like we've heard it said in this group, there's more in you. There's more, right? Well, I've had everything that I wanted, that I'm aware of. But as we start to go deeper and have the courage to follow our heart, our vision gets bigger, Hence, I'm here, in Malta, because I had everything that I wanted. I had everything that was, that I thought would, was enough. But there's more. It's not here where I am now. It's not enough. It's more. There's more. That's why I've got these things everywhere that I'm up to. It's the vision. So, gentlemen, we're creating new stories, and that's what I want to do this week. As I said, a couple of years ago, that's what I started doing when the COVID thing was happening. I started going out west with my son. I started going to a different place each time. Then I started going more. Sometimes I took my whole family. Sometimes I went with a mate and went on my own. I started to go different places all the time. We ended up going everywhere. I started going for an overnight every month. Then I started going then it's got a bit longer. The longest we ended up going for a week one time. We thought, we better head back. We're going to do some stuff on that. But that's what happens, gentlemen. We start to live a life that's an adventure. So who's up for that? So this week, what I want us to do is start doing something every day. It can be small. It can be just going for a swim where you've never swam. It might be going for a run where you've never run. It might be hooking up with a bloke or anyone and just doing something different. Building something you've never built before. I don't know. Remember, once we start getting outside of that normal routine, I guarantee you'll start to see new things. We've just got to get out of that repetition and that routine. So even this might even be something I believe I've started a couple of weeks ago with one of my sons, my 13-year-old. I jumped on the Zoom, look, I know he said my nose is pretty red and there's a mark there. And I've been doing this BBJ, that, what is it, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? So I've been doing that for a couple of weeks. Mate, I am so sore. My neck is killing me. But it was good. Last night I only got choked out 3 times. Better than the other night. I'm waking up. Sometimes I forget to tap. I'm done. But man, this is the exciting thing. I've never been done. I was quite proud of myself, right? Like I had this thing the other night. At the end of the first session, even they said, "All right, last 15 minutes we do sparring." I went, "I don't even know what to do. What are you talking about? If I spar, it means punch, you know, but they don't punch people, right?" So they do all these moves. So it's been epic learning something new and something different. And even just the other, not last night, the other night, right about me fourth or fifth time, I'm sparring these other young blokes. They're like in their 20s and they're quite handy. They've been doing it for a couple of years. And it's just been a great test. You know, it was great. They couldn't get me to submit. I don't lay down. And I pulled a few moves out that are unconventional to BBJ. but you know what, mate? It is awesome. And doing it with my 13-year-old son has been absolutely epic. You know, it's been absolutely just amazing. So doing things for the first time is a part of it. How do you know? Because I would say a lot of you men, like when we talk about daring adventure, I would say, who's got your hand up if you're not even sure what you want to do? Give me a raise of hands. You know there's more, but you're not really sure what to do. You know? Good. Yeah, great, awesome. Because this might be a part of it, just trying things that you've never done before. See, you may love it, you may not. You know, after about the third time going, I've got to go to this BBJ. Oh, God, I get to go to this BBJ. I'm thinking, I could probably do without this. But I've committed for 3 months, you know. I'm going to do it for 3 months. I want to get the fundamentals. I want to get enough to be able to, I don't know, you know, do it. Like even now, only a couple of weeks in, my son grabbed me the other night and flipped me on my back. Thought, that's brilliant. That's probably why my back of an echo. But that's a brilliant skill. So this epic adventure does stuff to you. It brings certain things out to you. So they give me a go. I said, I'm going to learn how to flip people. And it's been amazing. There's nothing to do with size. I'm just telling you this because that's what I'm doing. It's new. It's different. Man, I'm doing so. I'm going to do a pistol course. I'm going to flip on, you know, this enclosed stuff. Hey, man, if not now, when? You know, like, gentlemen, there's adventures in you, and if you don't live them, nobody else is going to. You know, but if we can, you know, as we create these things and we do them with other people, it's going to actually create opportunities, not just to validate others, but to get validated as well. Because I tell you what, this guy who's training us, coaching us, he's a 2 times European champion in the BBJ. Mate, it's been great to walk into a gym and not know nothing and just be, I'm a beginner. I'm an absolute beginner. And I didn't say anything about anything, any boxing or nothing. I've said nothing. You know, they're starting to pick up on it now. Couple of weeks in. but I've said to my son, I don't say nothing to no one, you know? So, you know what I'm saying, gentlemen? We've got to do things we've never done before. That's how we're going to come alive. So gentlemen, what's coming up as these stories? You know, we've got a couple of minutes left. What's coming up, gentlemen? As I'm telling these stories, Matt Hess. What about you? Mate? Oh, who was that?
Me. No, this fella. Yep.
Go, mate. What's coming up? Frank, was that you?
That was me, but the other fella first. Man, I got patience. Let him go.
Who was that?
Go for a big fella. Red and black flannelette.
Adam.
Go, Adam.
That's it. Yes, Adam.
Me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. What I've been thinking about is how I had adventure in the past. And 10 years ago, I went to Shanghai, and I absolutely loved it. It was an adventure, probably my first proper adventure.
Yeah.
And I went with a couple of other guys, and this guy, my mate, he's really motivated by traveling around the world. He's gone to the Philippines, and he's got things going on. He said, right, I'm just going to spend a month in paradise, and so he did. And I was thinking it would be nice if I could do that as well.
What's stopping you?
And that's just it. That's brilliant, mate. And that's it. Vision. I'm gonna spend it, how am I going to do it? Probably a lot of people don't, you don't need to know. So that's good. Frank, what were you saying, mate? You're on.
I don't think we create stories. We create legacies, yeah? Which are going to create legends.
All the above.
But it starts off as a story. It goes into a legacy and then it becomes a legend, man.
Yeah.
And I think all the boys that are around us, like all of us, are probably been through hard times. We've all been down in the shit times. Always looking up, always looking for the best in the day. Like my day tonight, which didn't finish until 7. Obviously, trying to get in didn't happen straight away. But, if you're going to have the fight and the willpower to go through it and do it, you're going to keep following it.
Yeah.
So with all of us boys, we need to stick together regardless of what country we're in, what state you're in, wherever the hell you are in the world.
And that, you know what? You're spot on, mate. And that's why we're going to get you in the Facebook group, right? Maybe what we'll do is he's having trouble with his Facebook, lost his password, so we're going to get Frank in an accountability group as well. We need to do that.
Honestly, the dumbest 33-year-old that you'll ever meet, man.
No, not dumb, mate. They just learnt and unlearned. That's all we're just going to learn.
I just had too many smacks to the face.
No. Hey,
you were a boxer. Yeah. I was football.
Who can help Frank? Who's got room in their accountability group and that can help Frank? He's a Queenslander. Who's got something? Give me a right
one because we won.
Yeah. So there were a couple of blokes. Yep. There were a couple of blokes, mate, that'll reach out to you, Frank. But we're going to get you in the Facebook group, the mentorship group, so that we can give you the support, etc. Otherwise, mate, you're going to miss out. That's all good. But so we'll get back to that. So this is the thing, man. And that's all I want everyone. A couple minutes ago, this is what I want us to really think about. Like when we talk about our dreams, our deep desires, our purpose, right? It's what will those dreams make of you? Who do you need to become to fulfill on those dreams? And it's the same with these adventures. What will this, like, I think of even when I got home last night, I fell in the pool. I thought, mate, I need an ice bath. I'm dying. Just totally different to what I'm used to, right? And I've been training all year. That's the unique thing. You do something different, man. But I think, what will this 3 months of BBJ make of me? Who do I need to become? You know what I mean? So when you look at these different adventures, you go, to go on an expedition and adventure down the east coast of Africa on one of these bikes, what will that make of me? Because I've been YouTubing blokes that have done it. They've been shot at. It's just the unknown, who do I need to become to do these things? So, man, when we're looking at these adventures, don't think, can I do it or do I know how to do it? Think, who do I need to become? Remember, man, the definition of adventure, an unusual, daring experience. Who's up for an unusual, daring experience? Give me come on.
Yeah, it happens every day, dude.
Well, it can, but a lot of us get into a routine and it just becomes mundane. We want to avoid that like the plague. So what else is coming up? Matt Hess, mate, you're sticking out for some reason. Come on, give us something, buddy.
Oh, okay. Well, this is probably me maybe 18 months ago. A good friend of mine said, look, let's go and do a bit of a hiking adventure. So in Western Australia, there's a lighthouse in Dunsborough and there's another one in Augusta. So it's about 130 Ks. So over the course of 6 months, we did that hike pretty much like over probably 3 or 4 weekends. But that was a pretty good,
awesome.
The coastline was pretty wild, and that particular trek, it's called the Cape to Cape. And you sort of go up on cliff faces and then back down onto the beach, and then that's pretty much the whole trek. But I've never hiked before in my life. So I went and bought a backpack and all the hiking gear and all the rest of it, and it's probably the best thing I've ever done.
Awesome.
Like, really, yeah.
So far.
That's wow.
I haven't done anything like that for, I don't know, probably the last year. Just got buried in work and all the rest of it. And I sort of look back on that and sort of anchor back to it and say, I need to go get back out there and do something crazy again. So,
and that's what we're going to plan this week, mate. Let's start to do things. Let's start to plan big ones, and let's just start today doing something. Yeah, Jono, mate, what do you got, mate? You're always up for your next adventure.
I've got the next week off, so I've got a list of things here.
Great.
I just wrote down that unusual daring experience, and thank you, Gary, for the introduction. Also write down what does success mean to you. So, this week I'm going to do a bit of hiking, and you talked about BJJ. I'm trying to get my 2 into it, and I'm going to have a crack myself as well.
Oh, mate,
I've got a few things written here, something to look forward to, and printing the paper off, just like what you've done there as well, is something I'm going to do as well, with a few images of what I like to move towards.
Man. That's what all of us, man. We need the visuals massive. We've got to remember everything's created twice. Okay.
I just wanted to talk about Kieran earlier too, when he was talking to his aunt. It caught my attention when you talk to her about, what you're doing, and that's what Gav touched on. It might be hard to have those conversations without giving them a bit more context. I'm going down to see my parents in 2 weeks' time, and last year I tried to have a sort of a conversation with my stepfather like that, but it's given me maybe a different angle to have a good chat with him, because my mum and I, we talk about everything, but the stepfather, he's old school. So it'd be good to go down there and spend a few days with them.
Terrific. That's good. That's good, mate. That's spot on. Hey, we're all getting better. We've got to look at things, become better at asking the right questions. It's awesome. It's great. So, all right,
awesome,
gents.
Jono.
We've got room for 2 more men. Who hasn't spoken yet? Who's got something?
Just a quick shout out to Benny Anderson too, smashing those push-ups.
Come on.
He's killing it. I'm not sure whether he's on tonight, but he's putting more in than what he needs to. So
he's on.
Good on you,
Yeah,
Benny.
I'm here, John. I appreciate it, mate.
He's on.
Yeah,
He's on.
for sure.
Yeah, terrific.
Yeah, look,
what about James from Geelong? What's come up for you tonight, mate?
Yeah, I've been sort of looking at doing these adventures for a while, actually. I've been trying to pin a couple of mates down, but to do a bike ride. Was just starting down in Tassie, but they do them everywhere. I was just looking at it again. Vietnam, Chile, Ireland, that full package.
Yeah.
Been wanting to do one for years. So
looks
like I'll be doing it on my own, I think.
No, mate.
Come with me next year,
Got all of us, buddy. You've got all of us, bro.
You got Chris Whiteman, he's on the bike rider. You got Kerry, he's just ridden across Vietnam, mate. Just surrounded.
I don't have a big enough boat, otherwise I'd be there.
and that's the thing, gentlemen. Once you start heading a certain direction, you will start to get momentum, and you just attract. Like attracts like. we've got to lose that. I believe lose that mindset of I'm on my own, lone wolf. We've got to move. It's always better together. It's always better, you know. And even, I mean, a couple of you men are going to be coming over to Gozo here in September, and then I've got another trip planned in what is it? Bloody March next year. You know what I mean? So you know, it's always about having a vision. You know, then you can start the plan. I got even Peter's coming over here in September. Yeah, I just landed in Samoa. I was talking to him this morning. 2-week surfing trip. Man, it's about having a vision. Yeah. Then what will that vision make us? Who do we need to become to start living these epic adventures? Yeah. I mean, I just can't keep still, gentlemen. Yeah, and they're everywhere. Like, even, for example, I don't know if I were going tonight or tomorrow. I met this guy the other day. He's got on here in Gozo. He's got a his name's Frank Ferrugia. He's got with my wife's Maltese name. Her maiden name's Ferrugia. So struck up a bit of a chord. But he's got a farm with what do you call it? It's a winery, right? I said, I'd love to come over. Look, he goes, come. Give me his number. He said, come over. Told him about the kid. Bring the kids. You know what I mean? There are opportunities everywhere, gentlemen, every single day. So we're going to get the task up shortly. Do something every single day. Start to shift some mindset. Start to shift what we're going to do, you know, what the vision is of the future. If it's an average, it's no good. We've got to start doing these unusual, daring experiences. So how's that, gentlemen?
That's great. Yeah.
Who's got something they need to say before we end?
At the end of the day,
yes.
Yeah, I'll say yes. Yep. But at the end of the day, how the hell do we go with so many kids?
Good, yeah, great. Eddie, so many, mate.
My children mean the world to me, man.
How do you do it?
I've got 8 tonight.
Yeah. How do you do it, mate? That's the idea. What will it make of you? What will it make of you? Man, I was down at the pool before I come up here, right? And it was amazing watching a couple of my daughters work away on their laptops. My wife was teaching one of my younger daughter doing what do they call it? Oh, they call it reading. It's some maths thing that they obviously I don't do it. Doing some schoolwork. Man, who do I need to become to live an epic adventure? You know, that's the thing. All right. Who else is going to talk? Last one we're going to go. Who else have we got?
Go for it, man. Come on. Jump on.
That was me, Gav. I was just going to say.
Go, Anthony.
Yeah. Who was that? Yeah.
Anthony.
Anthony.
All right. I was just going to say yes. Say yes to the opportunity. Say yes to the adventure. Right. Like I said, Gav, once it's in your head, right? And as you say, every single week, everything's created twice. So once you think of it, just say yes. Say yes to yourself. And then take the first step.
Yeah. The next right step. That's it, mate. You got it. You get it. And all of a sudden you'll be halfway up the hill.
Pay for the ticket. Pay for the ticket. And you can't get out of it. That's the easiest one.
It's paid for it. It's done.
Who else? Was that you, Neil? And then we're done, man. Where's Neil?
Yeah, I was going to say, I had a moment like you're describing the other weekend, at the end of the long weekend.
Yeah.
Went away to Adelaide to do a trade display for a big roller derby tournament.
Yeah.
It was a super challenging weekend, but it was completely different from anything I'd been doing, rather than kind of just the day-to-day. And then on the Tuesday morning, I had some time before my flight back. Yeah. So I just wandered up the road and sat at a cafe.
Yeah.
And I sat outside, and the craziness of the morning traffic is going by. And it just struck me, I don't want to do this anymore.
No. Love it.
And I had my diary there, And I just started writing into the journal, and I wrote about 5 pages of stuff just about a realization of that trap or whatever. And this week has just been completely different.
Yeah.
I've cleaned up so much stuff at home. I've cleaned up so much stuff in the business, and I'm not doing it anymore.
Love it.
That's awesome.
In the boat.
And that just came out of being away and being completely away from the thing and not getting up and coming to work and going home. And, yep.
And that's it, gentlemen. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, that's how your imagination works. We're going to do different things. We're going to start to put ourselves in different locations or with different people, and then our imagination starts to open up. If we do what we've always done, we'll be in the same track. So, all right, gentlemen. Yeah. Gary, nailed it, mate. Well done. Can we give him another round of applause, mate?
Nice work, guys.
Got the men on mission.
Thanks, man.
Got us going. Thank you, mate. And gentlemen, I'll get this posted in the group. So yeah, leave us a comment, particularly if you're watching it again or watching it for the first time, and just, hey, the more ideas we come up with, we can actually, we leverage off each other. So, all right, gentlemen, going to be a great week. I'll get the tasks up shortly.